Hello and welcome to another edition of Hacks and Slash, the now monthly podcast where we read fanfiction of questionable quality. Today, we are reading a fanfiction called The Subspace Emissary's World's Conquest, a Super Smash Bros. Fanfiction that is over 4 million words long. We are not going to be reading this whole fanfiction in one sitting. In fact, we are only going to be reading one chapter of it because that is 10,000 words apparently. So, before we get into it, I would like to introduce our lovely cast of characters. So everyone please introduce yourselves and the characters that you're voicing. I'll start. I am Joseph Martin. I will be narrating as well as voicing Crazy Hand. And we also have James Pelster, Anna Bryniarski, and Shannon Hoover. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm James Pelster, and I will be playing the role of Chris.
Hi, I'm Anna Bryniarski, and I'll be doing the voices of Ancient Minister, aka R.O.B, and Master Hand.
I'm Shannon Hoover, and I'll be playing the voices of Taboo and Lucario.
A little bit more backstory, because I feel like more than other fanfictions, this one requires a bit of backstory. This fanfiction is famous for being one of, if not the longest fanfictions in existence. So this one carries a lot of notoriety along with its questionable quality. So, let's begin.
Woohoo!
So right here at the beginning, before anyone says something bad about OCs, this story only contains a single OC throughout the whole fic. Don't think this OC came out of nowhere because there is a prequel to this fic, so my OC and Lucario could be developed if you want to read it. However, the most important aspects of the two will be briefly shown in here to give you an idea. Also, it would make much more sense if you read The Bond of Aura so you don't get the wrong impression of this OC, Chris. I've taken precautions about the Gary Sues and Mary Sues. I have looked into it. Doesn't provide that much more context. He provides plenty of context within it for you to see that the relationship between him and the Lucario is weird.
Spoilers.
Well, with that away, the start of my series begins now with this story. I hope you all enjoyed this long story about the struggle of a prolonged fight against the Subspace Army. Basically, this is an if version of what would have happened if the Smashers never defeated Taboo the second time they fought him. I encourage all Brawl fanatics to read on, enjoy, and review. Disclaimer, Aura Chandler Chris does not own anything in the story and future chapters. He only owns his OC.
Wait, he doesn't... Oh, okay. For a minute, I thought he was saying he didn't own the future chapters. I was like, wait, then who wrote this? It's also an if version.
Because, yeah. Like what? I think it's what if, but without the what.
Yeah, what if, yeah.
Alright, let's begin. Chapter 1. Start of Disc 1. New game. Subspace. Deep inside the Great Maze. It had been a long battle for survival, but he managed to stop the imbeciles from defeating him for real. Taboo, though, had been weakened during the battle, as he floated in the void of subspace, surrounded by darkness and swirling purple and blue colors, like purple and blue? Which are colors?
Yeah.
He reflected on the disastrous end of the battle. Master Hand had shown up right before Taboo could terminate the big group of Smashers. As a last-ditch attempt, the omnipotent Hand used his space-bending powers to recall each one of the Smashers to their worlds, back into the past before they participated in the Brawl tourney and the war against the Subspace Army. He then called Crazy Hand, and both of them escaped from Taboo's clutches, effectually putting a sudden end to the conflict for the time being. Unfortunately, not everything was right. Master Hand couldn't manage to save certain Smashers. Roy, Pikachu, and Mewtwo had been killed by Taboo in the ensuing battle.
Oh.
I feel like that's kind of unnecessary, but okay. Oh, no, this is...
No,
I
it
know,
was only Pichu, it wasn't Pikachu.
I remember, he explains this later. Furthermore, R.O.B seemingly betrayed them all by siding back with Taboo. It became a huger disaster. Once Mr. Game & Watch had been caught once more. There was more! An unlucky smasher was captured as well in his trophy-fied state. Master Hand didn't manage to save that one smasher, much to his chagrin. Taboo kept him as a prize, but he would use his unrequited help very soon. Taboo grunted. It felt like empty victory against the Smash Force, but he could at least relax and recover his power. As he pondered about what to do, a figure rolled into view over the cracked black floor of purple outlines. Imagery. It was R.O.B, or rather, the ancient minister wearing his clothes.
Wait, so the ancient minister is wearing R.O.B.'s? Is wearing a R.O.B suit?
No, R.O.B is the ancient minister only when he's wearing the ancient minister clothes. I
but
think
it
that
says the ancient minister. It was R.O.B, but rather the ancient minister wearing his clothes. That makes it seem like the ancient minister is wearing R.O.B.'s clothes, not the other way around.
the robot was alone with the biggest threat the universe faced, but there was complete and absolute trust between the two of them. The ancient, even though he betrayed him earlier, but now there's absolute trust between the two of them.
Yeah, what?
Okay, cool. Okay, finally someone else besides me talking. The ancient minister looked up at his boss.
Lord Taboo,
He began.
what is your next course of action?
Taboo remained silent for a few minutes until he spoke.
My next course of action is to mobilize the army beyond this realm.
He said.
We managed to seize the land down below, even though I was weakened in this big battle.
The minister looked down.
It is going to take you a lot of time before your powers are back, right?
He asked.
Sadly, that is the case.
Taboo said, nodding, his body glitching a bit.
Until then, no one can reach us. It is dangerous for anybody to enter this place knowing that I rule it. I will muster up my power to create an ideal place for our base of operations. You, however, will be in charge of the outside world.
The minister looked up and nodded.
Yes, I will gladly reassume control over the facility.
He said.
Just give the word and we shall move out.
I had my eyes on the other worlds.
Taboo said.
Worlds that those accursed smashers come from. I wish to conquer them all before they even have a chance to reunite and assemble their force.
He explained.
Once we have gathered enough worlds, we shall move on and conquer the biggest one there is.
What?
The minister said.
Oh, you mean the rumored real world?
Yes.
Wait, what? How does that work?
Shh, it's fine.
Yes, you catch on very fast.
Taboo said.
It's the real world that is the real prize behind the entire war. Those fools do not even know about the real world existing, but they are missing the big picture.
He turned around.
Ancient Minister, begin preparations to invade one of their worlds. The facility is slowly being taken out from the subspace. I want a subspace bomb to be deployed in Ness's world.
The minister nodded and turned around, moving away from his boss.
It shall be done.
He said as he vanished in the darkness.
And so begins my long struggle to work with this person once more.
The ancient minister thought to himself.
This isn't the time to rebel again. I need to find the right time.
The Gathering Saga begins. Real world. Chris's house. Living room. March 9th, Sunday morning.
Exposition.
There's lots of context given.
Yeah, just...
Behind the scenes of the big war in another entirely different universe, the real world was safe from getting into a big fight of epic proportions. Life continued its Pacific time of peace.
What?
Pacific.
That's what?
Today, however, was a time of rejoicing. A particular teenager with a big secret hidden inside the walls of his semi-luxurious house entered his home, carrying a bag holding a game he purchased that very same day. It was the release date of the game Super Smash Bros. Brawl. and he was greatly looking forward to play it along with a very special person who took residence in his house half a year ago. He had paid the reservation in full as soon as the announcement came to the internet and the general media.
So basically, like, that was like 3 sentences to say he pre-ordered the game.
Yep. Sighing, the team smiled to himself. Sighing. And looked around the house, trying to find his special guest.
And now I start my exposition, apparently.
Yep.
It's like, who am I talking to? Hello, I'm Chris. I'm a 16-year-old teen. Wait, that's redundant. You're getting this so far, right? It's just barely, just barely.
You said literally 2 things.
Yeah, it's like, wait, it's like he really is talking to someone. It's like, are you getting this so far? Okay, I'm just making sure. I'm a 16-year-old. Yes, you said that. I have short black hair, and you could say that I look Hispanic due to the color of my skin. The truth is, I am Hispanic, but I live in the U.S., specifically Los Angeles, California, in a house where I rule by my lonesome due to some rather unfortunate decisions I've done in the past. What? Oh, dear. Well, not exactly alone. I have someone special here who has taken me out from my horrible curse of solitude. That someone is really, really special, because he's not a person you'd expect to find here around the city, or for that matter, in the entire world itself. Let's talk about me before you decide to hog that person, okay? What? Excuse me? Is he just talking to the reader? Or I think we're breaking the fourth wall here.
What is the wall?
We're breaking a lot of the...
What is
I love how it
this?
just shifts into first person narrating for a while. Like, he just starts narrating himself, but then I don't think he ever does this again.
It's like, you know what this story needs? 2 narrators. Firstly, let me tell you this. I'm an honor high school student who manages to keep a balanced life with studying and playing video games. I'm a huge video game fanatic, but I look beyond video games. By that, I mean that I care about the love and effort put into every single game I have ever bought. I enjoy the story and the characters besides the gameplay. In fact, I learned so much about the values shown in some games that inspire me to find something good in real life. That's not a sentence. As you can tell, I'm a high school student with an everlasting dream to discover what I'm good at.
Can we tell that?
I don't
Well, he
know.
told us about the high school part like 5 times, so
Yeah.
we can tell that.
And he's saying that he likes video games, and he
A
likes
lot.
video games.
A lot.
Yeah. And that's basically it about me. I'm an ordinary high school student living a pretty particular life due to that person I mentioned to you.
The teenager couldn't find the person in his house. Looking around, Chris shouted.
Lucario, I'm home.
On the second floor of the house, a figure entered through the terrace's entrance. His black feet touched the white tiles on the floor. A deep, gruff voice then said,
Up here, Chris.
Hearing the sound of footsteps rushing up, the person saw the teen coming from the stairs because names are apparently not good writing.
Yeah.
All while flashing a small smile as he carried with him the game he had bought. If the situation had taken place half a year ago, Chris would have screamed at the sight of a Lucario in his house. Alas, this was not the case anymore. Why alas?
So he's
This makes it sound...
disappointed.
Which he is absolutely not. I'm telling you from the story,
like
he
you're
is...
very much not disliking this guy, but that special person I mentioned is a Lucario.
The teen and the Pokemon approached each other, and the first looked up at the towering Pokemon looking down at him with a smile.
And he's beyond special in many ways than one.
Okay.
And now
boy.
for some more first-person exposition.
Yes. Plot dump. First things first. You're surely wondering how a Lucario like this one appeared in this world. Well, I have no idea how it happened back then. But at the start of summer vacations, capital S, capital V, during a rainy night, a lightning bolt struck my DS down. Oh, the Yankee means my. Struck my DS down, and from it, I saw Lucario's Pokeball come out. It accidentally opened up, and he appeared, sprawled over the floor because he had a fever. When I saw him the first time, I was at a complete loss of words, and I feared that he would rip me apart. Luckily, doing the right decisions led me to become acquainted with him. It was a long struggle for me to get him to like me. He was a very oblivious Pokemon who knew almost nothing about life. Fortunately, this Lucario can use telepathy to talk, but he can actually speak with his mouth just fine. It doesn't mean he knows how to read, though. During many days in the past, I took it upon myself to look after him by teaching Lucario how to live life while we tried to find a way back to his home. We had lots of fun moments together. I vividly remember his first shower and his first steak. What?
This is a very weird relationship, and I'm uncomfortable.
Very odd.
I think he's treating him like a dog, so,
Kind
first
of?
bath.
Okay, then bath. Say bath, not shower. I mean, he may be like huge.
Also, he talks. Size, he talks, and is also referred to as a person a lot. So.
He just doesn't know anything about living life. Don't know what that means, but... Anyway. But still, he longed for his dream to reunite with his real trainer. When the day he was debating himself what to do about his issue that was being stuck in this world, I cried out, and after a while, he turned around and he also cried. Without warning, he embraced me and yelled out... Wait,
I should probably read that.
Yeah.
Okay. He embraced me and yelled out,
I don't want to leave you like this. You're my real trainer.
Heart-touching. And ever since that fateful day, my solitary life changed forever for the better. I was a teen whose parents worked away from home to assist important corporations with revolutionary ideas. I didn't know much about what they do, but they're almost never at home. That made things easier for me to raise the special Lucario as ... my loyal Pokemon. You see, this Lucario is not normal. He's a 6'7" wait. Okay. He's a 6'7" what? He's a 6'7" tall Lucario. I'm just 5'5". My head only reaches the murderous weapon that was his chest spike. Oh no!
Chris said as he accidentally let go of the bag, slipping down the white couch. I'm narrating again now for a while.
Wait, is this like jumping in time? When were we anywhere near a couch? What?
I think there's a couch in the living room.
I thought we were going up the stairs.
No, Lucario's coming down. Wait, I don't know. Maybe there's a couch upstairs.
Where are we?
Lucario merely stared at the direction the item slipped down into. Okay. He bent down a bit and lifted the couch with a single hand. The couch was heavy to carry for two people, but the Lucario didn't struggle a single bit.
There it is.
Lucario said, looking at the bag. Now James narrates.
Switching now. So it seems like this author uses I think he just overuses pronouns a lot, or just like
substitutes for names.
Yeah, like the item, and the person.
Yeah,
I don't know. And this Lucario just so happens to have Herculean strength. For reasons unknown, he is surely my world's strongest being there is. Mundane tasks such as cutting down logs with an axe and do some furniture redecoration were easily taken care of with a single hand of his. Despite having the strength of obliterating my house in a single punch, I don't even know if he can do that much, but do you want me to find out? Fat chance. He's an incredibly likable person. He just doesn't have the strength of 1,000 men. Wait.
I think he does. I think he meant he doesn't just have.
Okay. He's really got a tough body of steel under a coat of fluffy blue and yellow fur. Yes, I said fluffy. Don't you look weird at me.
I will look weird at you for other reasons.
You're making this very difficult, Chris. I remember how a brick fell on top of his head from the third floor's roof to the garden outside, and he just kept staring me while that brick broke apart the moment it landed on his head. Morbidly enough, we were talking that day, and he didn't stop when said brick fell on him. He just kept talking and rubbed the dust on his head. On top of that, Lucario knows 4 moves. Wow. Force Palm, Extreme Speed, Double Team, and the ever-so-devastating Aura Sphere. Coupled up with his almighty strength, these moves became... what's the word? Broken. Force Palm released a rather small blow, but just you wait until that thing goes off. It looked pretty small, yet its intensity was deadly. A tree would shatter into pieces. And then there was the Aura Sphere. If he wanted, he could make some monstrously big Aura Spheres and then charge them in 2 seconds flat. In a world where there are no Pokemon and battles, Lucario had no choice but to enjoy life with me. We never complained, though. We absolutely enjoy every single second of our life together. Or our time together. Blech. Oh, did I mention he was a gamer? I taught him how to be one. And today, we were going to waste away our time playing Brawl. That's about it.
Chris sighed and went to pick up the bag. Once stepping out from the couch's shadow, this is a large couch, the teen saw the towering Lucario because it was in the air. The teen saw the towering Lucario put the couch back down to the floor. He looked at his trainer.
Find it?
Lucario asked. Chris then took the item from the bag and placed the game in front of him.
Yep, I got it.
He smiled.
Now we can play it. Oh god, we have to do it now before the shows start later.
He said.
I'm so excited to play this with you.
Lucario nodded and looked to the game.
So you were this excited,
He stared at the game's case.
Oh.
The teen raised an eyebrow once he saw Lucario giving the game's box a hard look.
Lucario?
He said.
Lucario, what's wrong? You're glaring at the box. ...
There is something wrong with this game.
Lucario said, staring at the box.
Wrong?
Chris asked, confused.
I don't know what it is, but it feels evil.
Were you watching TV during the whole night again? I told you not to do that.
No.
Lucario blushed, shaking his head.
Chris.
Through Lucario's eyes, he could see a purple aura coming out from the very box. It was very box. This Lucario was a master of auras, unlike the normal Lucario stated in the descriptions.
What?
You know, the descriptions.
Okay.
The Herculean Pokemon easily tracked down auras beyond 100 miles. Not that there was any use to this highly developed sixth sense. Lucario only watched from afar how Chris's life developed in high school. It's not weird. It's not
What's
weird.
that
He's
got to
just
do with
spying
auras?
on him. He's just spying on him from, really far away. It's not weird at all. However,
It's gonna give him more uncomfortable with this relationship.
However, only the living could exude auras. An item exuding a dark aura was not normal.
There's definitely a dark aura on that box.
Lucario added, shrugging at the aura trying to reach out for them.
What's reaching out?
That's my shrug noise.
That's the aura. Alright.
Chris looked worried.
Well, I don't really feel anything evil from the box, but I believe you, though.
He said.
But how can an insignificant item like this give out a dark aura?
Perhaps we shouldn't put it in the console.
Lucario said.
Don't want to find out what could happen if something were to come out of it.
Chris was used to having a supernatural Pokemon accompany him all the time. It was half a year ago they met. We know!
Yeah, this is like a fifth time you told us.
But there wasn't anything else besides Lucario that happened until he brought up the unbelievable fact that a game box had a dark aura.
That dark aura is red, right? Wait, what?
How do you
It's
know?
lore.
How is that a dark aura?
It's
Is it
lore.
dark red?
It's lore.
Okay.
Chris asked.
Yes.
Lucario said.
Trying to pierce through it to find out more about its reason to have such a thing, but I can't find anything.
That's impossible.
Chris muttered.
You're a master of auras, but you can't discern anything from this?
Lucario looked down in shame.
Sorry.
He said.
Maybe I need to hone my aura skills even more.
No.
Chris said, making Lucario look at him, just like grabbing his face and being like, look at me!
You're a master. There just has to be a good reason behind this box giving you that evil aura. You know what? I think we should just go ahead with this and try it out ourselves.
He said. Lucario looked a bit dismayed at the proposal.
Maybe you are just imagining things.
You're a master. I believe you, but you're just imagining things. No, I'm not.
Lucario said, looking a bit serious.
But maybe I'm hallucinating a bit. I mean,
What?
this is just a game.
I'm not imagining
I'm
things.
pretty sure that's how imagining works.
Wait a sec, what?
Chris forced a smile.
Apparently I'm conflicted. Then let's go to my room and boot this up.
He said.
I'm so looking forward to play as a Lucario.
Lucario grinned for a bit.
That makes two of us.
Don't you already do that?
Well, in the game. I get to play as my own race in the game.
Dibs on the blue one.
I don't like the other palettes. They make my species look silly.
As the two debated on choosing the right color palettes, the dark aura that the box contained lingered in the air.
What, you mean as it had been doing all this time?
It's fine. Chris's room. Chris's room on the first floor was very clean. The teen, though, was not the one who cleaned it up. It was his dutiful Lucario who took it upon himself to put game cases away on the lower left corner of the room on a pile of ordered stacks of video games next to the closed closet. We need to know everything about this room.
This is so specific.
The bed on the upper right corner was neatly made up, facing sideways at the HD TV on the upper left corner of the room. The two house residents entered the room from the southwest corner at approximately 485 degrees.
485? That's not a time.
Shush. It's fine. Lucario sat down on the bed as Chris went over to insert the disc inside his Wii. The Aura Pokemon turned the TV on. The box stopped radiating the ominous aura, Lucario could tell. But now, the dark area came from the disc itself.
See? Nothing seems evil or something.
Chris said as he then inserted the disc inside the Wii, even though I think... Oh no, he didn't do it. Okay. The TV came to life with a friendly warning.
What?
I think that's just like the startup,
The health and safety.
Yeah. Grabbing a nearby Wiimote, Chris went to sit next to Lucario. He moved the pointer over its game channel screen.
Seriously, nothing is happening.
And then he selected the game screen. Irony was on Lucario's side. As soon as Chris wanted to boot the game, the Wii turned off.
Irony was on his side? What? That's not how irony works. ...
Chris remained silent as Lucario looked down at him.
Told you before that something isn't right.
He said.
Why isn't the game starting?
Chris said.
You don't really think that the evil aura you saw has something to do with this, right?
Lucario nodded as he said.
Must be that dark aura's doing.
There surely was some logic behind this that didn't involve the dark aura.
No,
Chris,
yeah. What?
Yeah,
I think this is Chris kind of thinking to himself now. Chris rubbed his chin as he pondered on the issue.
Maybe those rumors about the disc being made as a double-layer disc were true. I think I put my Wii in the wrong place where dust gathers the most, in the bottom left corner of my room, approximately 3 centimeters from the wall. Okay, no.
Lucario could see that his trainer didn't want to believe it, so he tried to support the thought. ...
I hope so. ...
Lucario muttered.
That's weird. Let me check it.
Chris approached to the Wii. ...
Dot.
He approached his right ear to listen to the disc spinning inside.
There's a weird sound coming from within the Wii.
And suddenly, a purple light came from where the disc slot was. Chris looked at it, and Lucario glared at the light.
Hey, what's the big deal here? I never saw a mention of a purple light in the manual.
He was suddenly pulled back by a growling Lucario. Awfully realistic, okay. Moving on, the Aura Pokemon put his trainer under his left arm as he showed his fangs at the light.
Lucario, what's wrong?
Dark aura is growing.
Lucario said.
Don't know what's going to happen, but we better brace ourselves.
Chris was so unfamiliar to listening to such an order that he looked frightened, but with a Lucario capable of carrying a couch with a single hand, he felt protected.
Why?
The light shone brightly and a force pushed Chris back. He was being held by the big Lucario, so he avoided being flung away recklessly.
Are you all right?
Lucario asked, looking down at him.
What in the world is happening here?
Chris asked in terror as he saw the light illuminating the whole room.
Please don't let it explode because there are no Wii's in the store. That's all you're worried about?
Biggest concern.
Lucario asked in rage.
This is very serious. I can't even tell what's going on.
How do you know it's serious?
Because it's very serious.
I also like it Chris pressed his priorities straight. So, I hope it doesn't explode with this dark energy, because I can't buy another one. At least I take care of everything here.
Chris said.
All the cleaning.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he was desperately trying to distract himself from the potentially hazardous purple light.
Potentially, yeah. Not like you, Mr. I break the Wiimote because I failed to pass the final boss.
Suddenly, purple lights came from the disc, as they were not already, and started to fly in a circle in the middle of the room. Both of them looked shocked at the whole event happening.
Wait, the lights do?
Yes, the lights do.
The lights are looking shocked?
Oh, yeah. At the whole event happening just in the morning and in their room. Chris looked horrified, while Lucario growled menacingly at the lights. Not even the Dawn's light coming from the window could overcome the... Dawn's light isn't that bright. Why would...
Yeah.
Could overcome the bright, ominous lights.
Okay, this is getting pretty insane.
Chris said with a gulp.
First, my Wii goes nuts, and then it shines, then it shoots ghosts out? Is this some kind of a new application I've never heard of before? Oh, yeah, that's definitely what it is.
Yep.
The Aura Pokemon frowned at his trainer's suspicions.
Told you.
Lucario began as he growled slightly at the lights.
There was something wrong with it.
Surely, Lucario could do something useful.
Besides warn him 9,000 times.
Yeah, you know.
Was not an option,
fine.
but perhaps he could manipulate the lights using his aura.
But, well, do something about those lights. If my parents ever come back, that's actually really depressing.
Oh.
If my parents ever come back and see these abnormalities, what do you think they'll say?
Chris ordered and asked in that order.
Too bad.
Well, why are you saying that?
Lights aren't lights. Those are auras.
Okay, good. Now get rid of them.
All the purple lights, in quotation marks, fired to all the video games of Chris's collection and began to glow in a purple aura before fading out. Both of them
Not the
stared...
video game.
No.
Both of them stared at the games that shone purple from time to time. With the lights having seemingly merged into the stack of games, the intense purple light dimmed down a lot. The two exchanged looks before staring at the collection.
Lovely.
Chris said with a bored look after his room returned back to its normal color.
Just so quickly, just back. Just, I'm not interested.
With the sun's light shining through the window.
My game surely got corrupted by purple auras from a new game I just bought from my local store. I'm not getting all of them through the internet either. It's like, it's almost like he's It's like now speaking in exposition. He's just explaining what just happened.
Why?
Thanks.
Lucario groaned with a frown.
I told you something was wrong with that game you got.
We know!
We know. And yet you didn't do a thing. What do you mean you didn't do a thing?
It was like saving you and
Yeah,
warning you.
sheesh.
Lucario looked ashamed.
I'm sorry.
You shouldn't be.
The teen would feel guilty just seeing the powerful Lucario look down. Chris's eyes looked apologetic, while his lips formed a small smile. He rubbed Lucario's head with care, making the Aura Pokemon look happy. I'm continuing to be incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It just keeps going downhill.
It's worse because I'm the one playing this character.
Unlike the
You're
other,
just like, this is getting worse.
unlike the other Lucario, which I think is plural. There's not like a second Lucario somewhere.
But what other Lucario?
Like,
there aren't
just in
any others.
general, like in the games. This one liked that his trainer groomed him a bit from time to time. I don't like it though.
I mean, if Pokemon Sun and Moon have anything to say about it, they already like that. It's okay.
Chris reassured Lucario.
We're gonna get to the bottom of this. Maybe you can pull the auras out from the collection.
The Aura Pokemon looked at the collection and held out his hands. Chris pulled his hand back and saw the big Lucario glowing with an intense blue aura. Much to their dismay, the purple aura that engulfed the games disappeared as soon as Lucario tried to pull them out.
Oh, so he did it. Ta-da!
Lucario muttered. He didn't sense the auras anymore, and then his intense aura faded away.
They got away.
Chris looked disappointed as he got up and approached the Wii to examine it.
Oh, great.
He muttered.
It feels just like the time you came to this world, only now it's far worse and confusing.
What?
Wait, it wasn't confusing when you suddenly had a Lucario in the real world? What?
What?
Lucario nodded, but then he felt a blue aura emanating from the Wii itself.
It's probably just the disc access light.
Being unfamiliar with this aura, the Aura Pokemon narrowed his eyes.
Back away from that thing.
Lucario said.
A new aura surfaced.
What? Now this Wii has an aura?
Chris asked, and Lucario nodded. He looked at the Wii with a bored look.
Good. Good. This machine may as well be corrupted. Heavily corrupted. And my games as well. Lucario, do you know what this means?
Have to toss them all to the trash?
Lucario asked as he got closer to the video games.
I don't want those boxes exploding in midnight if that ever happens.
I want to take a brief aside to mention that this, even though, like, there's a lot of stuff that's, you know, like, not so great in this, there's definitely some comedy in this that lands well, and I think this is an instance of it.
Yeah. They're really trying for story. They're good. They're really trying to get some good world building in here, and I can definitely appreciate that. Even if occasionally they build the same world like 3 times over.
Cut out every other line and still have it have an impact.
Yeah, probably. Maybe that's why this story is 4 million words long.
It needs an editor.
The teen gasped.
You back away from those video games now.
Chris ordered.
I'm not going to get them all one by one. Those are my video games for my entire life as well. They have to be just fine, even though we were previously saying, oh, they're clearly all corrupted.
You're asking that after we saw those auras merging into your collection?
Lucario questioned, crossing his arms below his chest spike, not above. We need to be very specific about everything. Sensing the Wii's aura shaking, the Aura Pokemon gasped.
Look out!
Suddenly, the Wii's disc slot was shining again, but instead of purple, it was a yellow light. Let's just have all the colors.
I thought it was blue.
All the colors. The teen gasped and backed away from the yellow light, grabbing his chest as if he was getting a heart attack. His dutiful Lucario went over to shield him. Lucario subconsciously liked the fact that he was protecting his dear trainer during these confusing times, but he shook the thought away. It was far more important to keep Chris safe. Chris looked at the light and groaned loudly. Just like me groaning loudly.
I know. Oh, God, it's seriously messed up this time.
This is just James and Joe just keep getting, like, more and more uncomfortable as time goes on. It's really funny.
The feeling of discomfort. The fanfiction.
Right
Guys, it's a romance story.
Right after the yellow light vanished. As Chris blinked, confused yet again, Lucario could still see the blue aura engulfing the Wii.
The aura is still there, Chris.
Lucario said.
Best if you don't approach it.
Lucario, hand me the phone. Wait, oh.
Grimacing at the weird order, Lucario looked down at him.
Why?
I'm calling Nintendo.
Dot, dot, dot.
Give the phone.
Dot, dot.
Lucario.
Dot, dot, dot. Chris, I don't think they know about this.
They don't know about it, that's why I'm calling them.
Lucario said, looking away from his trainer, simple yet piercing glare.
What are the chances of them knowing about this?
Then let me call it Ghost Hunter or Aura Hunter.
Chris shook his head.
What am I saying? They don't really know about this.
Are no ghost hunters in this world, or anywhere.
Lucario said. Chris gave him an awkward look.
Started it.
Lucario shot back, his trainer sighed.
Wait, he shot back.
I don't know.
Was I supposed to say that?
No, you weren't. Despite the warning, Lucario...
That sentence is missing something.
Yeah, it's missing something. Despite the warning Lucario had given earlier, the duo approached curiously to the Wii.
Oh my god.
So even Lucario's just ignoring his own advice now. Well, do you think it's time to get a new one? Even though I can't because the store doesn't have any more, as I previously mentioned?
Chris asked.
It's gonna be a real drag getting all that time spent on the games we achieved 100% completion.
That would be for the best.
Lucario said.
I do look forward to replaying games with you.
Chris smiled.
That's a really nice thought.
He said.
With you around, it's always bound to be an enjoyable experience.
Grorg!
Lucario growled proudly and nudged his muzzle against Chris's face.
Oh, dear.
The teen chuckled heartily. As the Aura Pokemon playfully rubbed the tip of his black hair. The tip of his nose on his black hair. Christian rubbed, stop please. The Aura Pokemon's chin with affection. The Lucario looked up with his eyes closed.
That's not how that works.
Growling.
Well, I mean, I guess. He, raised his head.
Growling with pleasure, unlike many Lucario. Stop. No, don't.
No.
Unlike many Lucario, this one, we already said this one enjoyed the idea of being groomed as proof of their strong bond.
Joe is now talking through his teeth through this whole thing.
Gave him a powerful, proud feeling that he cherished a lot.
Clearly.
I can't breathe.
Oh, this is getting to Metroid High School levels of uncomfortable.
The two never saw the Wii shook violently in front of them. In slow motion, the Wii suddenly shot a faint image over the happy team. Once a big shadow loomed over them, the two smiling characters looked up just in time to see two heavy figures appropriately crushing them both on the floor. Whatever happiness had taken place.
Is this Joe's revenge popping out of the Wii?
Joe's like, okay, enough affection, kill.
Whatever happiness had taken place before was crushed down along with them. Under the two foreign bodies, Chris's right hand stuck out, its fingers wide open as if trying to reach for outside support.
This took a really, really dark turn, out of left field.
Yeah.
I had a good run.
Chris muttered.
I have all the things to say.
The bodies were not normal. They weren't normal people, but rather two huge disembodied white gloves. a right glove, and a left glove. From the looks of things, the two gloves were pretty much alive and kicking.
Pretty much alive.
Well, pretty much alive and kicking, judging the fact both were groaning in pain. The right glove lied down on top of the left glove, unaware that they had seemingly killed the only two owners of the house they had entered without previous warning. "Where are we, brother?" the left glove under the right glove asked casually, looking, in quotation marks, at around its surroundings. "Hey, guess what? We made it to the real world after all, and here I was thinking we were gonna end up somewhere nasty, like a hot sauna with naked men."
Whoa!
You keep your opinions to yourself, crazy hand.
Yeah.
The right glove on top floated up, looking around the room. The walls had multiple posters of several video game characters that he knew very well.
Oh, good.
He said.
It looks like we got into the right place at the right time.
The left glove was lying down, upside down on its back. "Check this out," he said as he felt rumbling under his body. "This room has a massaging floor." The right glove looked down at him.
The floor isn't even shaking.
He pointed out until the loud roar came from under his companion. He backed away at the intensity of the roar, seeing that the window behind his wrist shook.
What in the... That deep, gruff voice.
"Sounds kinda familiar," the left glove said as the blue aura shone underneath its body. "But this one sounds a heck deeper."
Either way, it does not sound good.
"Wait a minute," he said as he looked at the blue aura down below. "What the—" An infuriated Lucario stood up to his full height, lifting the big left glove with a flaring right hand. Growling, Lucario tossed the left glove aside to let his trainer gasp for breath.
Air! Oxygen! Oh, how much I missed you both.
Chris said in relief as he got up with his Lucario's help. The two parties then stared at each other, falling in silence.
Falling in silence.
Oh.
The right glove stared long at the towering Lucario.
Oh my.
Goodness.
Chris muttered, staring up at the floating glove. There was no doubt. Chris and Lucario saw before their eyes none other than Master Hand and Crazy Hand. The two bosses were not even in their minds thinking other things that took much more importance. The two gloves had come out of Chris's own Wii for sure. There was no other explanation. Then Chris remembered something crucial.
Oh, wow. Way to go, Chris. Wait a minute. Aren't they supposed to be bad?
He asked and hid behind his Pokemon.
Lucario!
Lucario growled. I like how that one was way less realistic than your other.
That's intimidating.
Lucario growled furiously as his body caught up with a powerful aura. His eyes even glowed yellow.
He's going Super Saiyan.
Master Hand screamed in a high-pitched voice as he saw the Lucario holding out his open palm, creating a rather big aura sphere that violently shook with destructive power.
Ah!
Master Hand screamed.
Calm down. We're not bad, I swear.
Master Hand pleaded.
We're in dire need of help. Please, don't let that dog of yours blast us. That's kind of
For
insulting.
your information, it's not
It
a
was
dog,
incredibly
it's a
weird
Lucario.
to see someone like a big floating hand begging for mercy.
Like a big floating hand.
Through his yellow eyes, Lucario's mouth opened a bit as he detected that the two hands' auras were blue instead of red. However, he didn't want to take any chances. The Lucario couldn't read their thoughts, as there was some sort of mind lock that prevented him from dwelling in their minds. He could break the lock apart if he put some extra effort, but it was obvious to him that they had no ill intentions. Thus, Lucario's intense aura faded away for a second time, along with the big aura sphere. Seeing this, Chris asked.
Lucario, why did you...
They have blue auras.
Lucario interrupted.
Blue auras.
Chris trailed off. He remembered that Lucario taught him a bit about auras. Blue auras belonged to good people. Red auras belonged to bad people. Therefore, if the gloves had blue auras, it meant they were good people.
They're good then?
Yes.
Master Hand said, making the two look at him.
Geez, how lucky we are that there was another Lucario in this world. But
He stared at the wary Lucario.
how on earth did this one get here?
Feeling that situation looked awkward, Chris sighed.
What?
I don't think this is a good place to chat.
He said. He felt unsure around the two gloves inhabiting his house.
This is a very extremely confusing event to me.
Huh, we think alike.
Master Hand said, looking at the worried teen.
But it looks like it's going to be safe to explain everything to you two. I assume the initial shock of having a big Lucario like the one you have makes things easier for the two of us.
What? I don't see how that works.
But no.
Yeah, and therefore, not really.
Chris admitted.
He at least looks like a person. You two, on the other hand.
Crazy Hand floated up, startling the teen. On the other hand, we've got a second brother? He asked, sounding excited.
Oh, that was actually clever. Good one.
Master Hand chuckled nervously as the duo stared at them with weird looks.
Before we move, let me tell you this. He's my insane brother.
He said.
That's nice.
How kind of you.
He's technically the only person I can look after to avoid feeling alone, you know? He drives me crazy many times, but we're still brothers. I'm a man. This is my man voice.
Crazy, you're a hand.
Yeah,
What kind of voice does a hand have? I don't know.
Crazy. To the hand.
Crazy Hand turned around and looked at them. Oh, hello, he said, forcefully shaking Chris's hand with 2 fingers. Lucario's glare stiffened. Nice to meet my first human from the real world. We're gonna be best friends forever. His brother slapped his wrist.
Stop that.
He hissed.
We need to make a good first impression.
So he slapped his wrist, so he just, punched him, in the gut.
Ow.
Whoopsie daisy, the insane hand said. Sorry. Master Hand looked at them with a frown. Moving on.
Hand frown. Look, just don't get too close to him, or else you might experience severe, massive damage one way or another.
Massive damage.
He said.
Massive damage.
Chris cautiously moved behind Lucario.
Okay.
Living room. The teen never thought that it was going to be possible to have 2 extremely unlikely guests in his humble abode. If things weren't crazy with Lucario, they were crazier with the 2 disembodied hands floating around in midair. Chris closed the curtains from all the windows just in case an unlucky person with a weak will happened to scream their heads off. Then, Chris sat down on the sofa while Lucario remained standing up at his side as both hands were in front of them. Master Hand was admiring how lustrous the living room looked like. On the far left corner, there was a chimney facing some couches and a table, which were standing in front of a big flat-screen TV. On the upper right corner, there was a dining room. The upper right corner of the living room?
Wait, what?
There was a dining room that faced a kitchen counter further up. Along the walls, several photos and other decorative furniture. Decorative furniture?
There's furniture on the wall?
Adorned.
That's why the couch was casting a shadow.
Adorned the light gray walls.
Oh, good.
Master Hand said as his brother sat down on his wrist on the opposite couch that faced the duo.
I'm happy to know we got the one with the nice-looking house. What? That's...
Wait, there was another?
Weird.
I think he's just saying out of literally anything.
We got one with a nice...
Yeah.
They mentioned another Lucario, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe there's someone else who has a Lucario.
Well, I mean, there's technically only one Lucario in Smash.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks?
Chris said.
I do my best to keep this place clean while my parents are away. No, you don't. Lucario does all the cleaning. Yeah, how does Lucario enjoy being around me? I just constantly take credit for everything he does.
Chris is a jerk. Pass it on. Oh.
The hand nodded his body.
You're one of those who... I mean, I see.
I don't know what that means.
What?
He said...
It's like,
Explain? That kind of makes things even easier.
it's like, oh, you're one of those people.
Doesn't have parents or family that I have to explain things to.
The teen nodded, interlacing his fingers over his knees.
First off,
Chris began.
my name is Chris, and this is Lucario, but you already knew that.
Lucario responded with a silent growl.
This is my Lucario I've named Lucario.
I also like silent growl.
Yeah, silent growl.
It's all about facial features.
I could see that actually being... It could just be like a fancy way of saying he just bares his teeth. he won't kill you, ...
Chris reassured the hands. Lucario sighed with a small frown.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Master Hand said.
I'm Master Hand, and this here is my pretty insane brother, Crazy Hand.
Hello, Crazy Hand said. Don't mind if I take this couch as my bed.
Didn't we already introduce... Didn't the Crazy Hand already...
This is mine now.
But not by name. Not by name.
Okay.
Chris grimaced a bit, but he knew things weren't going to stay like this any longer. He saw that both hands stared at him. If it was easy to tell that apart, their bodies were facing him, so he had a feeling he was being watched.
What?
Because he is.
They're right across from you.
I don't know what to ask first.
Chris said. Come on, Crazy Hand said. You have something, don't you? Chris got something to talk.
What? Excuse me while I head over here. I'm gonna grab something to talk. I got something. Before you came here, there was this weird event where purple auras came out from my console, and then they entered my video game collection.
He raised an eyebrow.
Do you know anything about that?
Master Hand cleared his invisible throat before speaking.
That was invisible. Throat clearing.
Yeah.
Those purple lights were surely the Subspace Army spreading their reach, the culprits for invading the Smash Bros. Universe.
He explained. The two blinked at him.
The disk you got, Chris, happened to harbor a wide-open universe that had its own fair share of issues.
What?
Chris trailed off.
I know, it's just what I was thinking. You mean to say I just so casually picked up some kind of corrupted copy from my local store?
He asked.
How does that even make any sense? It doesn't.
Hello!
Just roll with it.
Hello? Crazy Hand said. 6 foot tall Lucario?
Point.
Chris exchanged glances with Lucario.
I admit we already went through something of the sort before, but this is just too much.
He said.
What are the chances that the people who manufactured that single copy of the game knew about this?
I don't know about that.
Master Hand said, dismaying the team.
But the thing is, things are happening.
Yes, they are.
How you say, destiny working by itself.
Oh, don't give me that.
Chris trailed off until he saw Lucario was giving him a worried look with his red eyes.
You believe in this kind of destiny, I imagine.
Lucario nodded.
Of us never found out how I even came here.
I guess you're right.
Chris muttered, recalling the vivid event from half a year ago.
Still, this makes even less sense.
He looked up at the hand.
It's just too much for me to believe that I'm living through this.
Master Hand sighed.
Look, Chris.
He began.
You're going to break a blood vessel. You're going to break a blood vessel if you think too hard about that. You need to concern yourself with the information I want to give the two of you first.
He saw the teen shaking his head.
I know it's pretty incredible, but it's happening. It's pretty incredible, but it's happening. That's all you need to know about the situation as a basis.
Chris grunted a bit.
Angst. Okay, I'll listen to your story then.
He agreed.
So you're saying that this subspace army is trying to...
It's trying to conquer the worlds.
Master Hand said. The duo widened their eyes.
The army's main goal is to conquer any world they come across using the subspace bombs. ...
Chris was utterly miffed by that truth. Utterly miffed.
Utterly miffed. Pretty sure miffed is not the right word to describe, they blow up universes.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounded so scaring.
How did you two manage to get here?
Lucario asked suddenly.
Matter, since Chris and I already spoiled ourselves of the plot of the game, where are the others?
What?
Master Hand chuckled nervously.
You see, there was this big fight against Taboo, the leader of the subspace army.
He said.
This fight was supposed to be the one that would end with his defeat, yet it never happened.
He looked up at the ceiling, so he just, the whole hand just, turns up.
Taboo was weakened due to some outside help, but he managed to fight back just fine, which ended with us losing the battle.
Chris looked away and thought.
You're saying the supposed final battle ended up on a bad note?
He asked, looking sideways at the hands.
And that's how things spiraled out of control?
Oh yes, they did.
The sane hand said.
You see, I barely managed to escape safely thanks to Crazy Hand here.
Crazy Hand waved his body at them.
Using his help, we used our powers to pull all the people involved in the fight back to their worlds of origin, with the added fact that we manipulated their memories so that they wouldn't remember anything that took place during the entire war plot.
Why?
Lucario asked.
Did you do that?
I'm a hand of creation,
the hand said.
I can't heal people. I can only use my powers to bend reality to my will.
Wait.
Okay.
So, of all the things, I can bend space and time, but I
can't heal people. So then I was desperate during that confrontation that I had no choice but to return them all to their world. If they went back in time, with their memories intact, it would create so many nasty outcomes for their individual stories.
Chris looked back at him, bewildered at the statement.
You toss them all back in time?
Yeah.
The hand trailed off.
I did it so that they had time to prepare themselves for the worst at this point in time, because I'm not that good at time-bending powers. However, ... I guess I overlooked a few mistakes here and there that might have pulled them all further back in time. ...
Oh.
Chris muttered in a low tone.
You saw those lights going to your games, right? Well, they were going after them, ...
The hand explained.
Taboo still has some reserves, and he's using them to put an end to them. So Crazy Hand and I fled away, and then I remembered that this world existed beyond our realms.
He shook himself.
I didn't want to go recruit other people and drag them into this mess, because the army is also hunting the two of us down.
And yet here you are.
The teen put two and two together and gasped.
Wait, there's a whole army coming into my house?
Chris asked, sensing aura waves of desperation. Lucario bared his fangs.
No.
The hand reassured them.
They can't easily barge into this dimension. They need to gather enough space to power up Taboo so that he can invade this place. Luckily, he's very weak at the moment.
Chris grabbed his chest and calmed himself down.
Phew, so I guess they're only gonna be... So wait, so the army... So the army is going to come to my house, just not yet.
Yeah.
Right.
He sighed as Lucario calmed down as well.
Sorry for the outburst.
I expected that.
The hand said.
So anyway, that's not the end of the story.
More?
Things suddenly get meta. Lucario asked.
There were other small accidents as we fled.
Master Hand said.
There were casualties.
Casualties?
Chris wondered.
You don't mean people got killed or something, right? That is what casualties means.
Casualties can be injuries, too.
Oh, true.
Alright. Well...
The hand trailed off. Trailed off has become overused.
Yeah.
Roy, Pichu, and Mewtwo gave their lives in the battle.
Exclamation point.
The two responded with horse breaths. How can you respond exclamation point with a horse breath?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I just see the exclamation point and I just think the Metal Gear Solid sound effect.
What?
Lucario blinked in shock. Blink, blink, blink. While Chris covered his mouth.
It was a very shocking scene, to be sure.
The hand muttered.
Mewtwo fought with all his might until Taboo pierced him through with a spear. Roy yelled and tried to help him, but then Taboo sliced his body and left a very mentally scarring wound that ran across his...
I don't think it was mentally scarring.
Mentally scarring? I think you mean mortally scarring.
Across his body. And just to clarify how evil he was, he spotted Pichu shivering in a corner and promptly blasted him away with a laser. Oh, wow.
What?
You weren't wrong.
Yeah. My God.
Chris muttered as he shook with fear.
This is unbelievable.
He muttered, this fanfiction has, incredible tone shifts.
Yeah.
To make a point, Mewtwo did a lot of help.
Master Hand said.
He's a legendary Pokemon of sorts. But Taboo went all out and overwhelmed him.
No, Mewtwo is just flat out a legendary Pokemon.
Lucario looked away.
I could have met Mewtwo.
He said.
Never crossed my mind that... Wait, Roy, Pichu, and Mewtwo?
He looked back at the hand.
Melee characters that didn't make it to Brawl. How did they even...
The hand interrupted.
I forgot you guys think that our dad canned those three. Well, I took it upon myself to keep them around for the Brawl era.
He explained.
Besides, there's a whole new world out there for the tourneys I have organized a decade ago. You guys know about it for sure, right? The first Smash Bros. Tourney, the Melee tourney, and the cancelled Brawl tourney. If I were to end a contract with one of the Smashers, that's how I like to call the participants, mind you, the ratings I get would take a long fall. What?
Long fall down.
Long fall down, sorry.
That makes it clear. That makes it a lot clearer.
It doesn't, but sorry, I missed a word. Shit.
It sure felt like the serious conversation had turned into some kind of advertisement.
Yeah,
Okay.
gee. What?
Chris asked.
What do you mean by tourneys? What kind of barbaric name is Smashers? You have a show?
More importantly,
Lucario began.
you have a father?
Let me answer every single one of those questions. All, 5.
All 5 of them.
Let me answer every single one of those questions.
The hand said.
Yes, I'm the boss that runs all of those tourneys I mentioned, pitting the universe's greatest personalities to pit them against each other for a fight for supremacy.
Pitting them to pit them against each other.
Pitting them to pit them against each other for a fight for supremacy. Yep. Smashers doesn't sound that barbaric to me. I make a living using those tourneys to gain me some hard-earned money.
Well, then of course it wouldn't sound barbaric to you.
He
That's
took
honest.
out a photo and handed it to them. I don't know where he
Photo!
where he took the photo was a fine topic of wild mass guessing.
Oh,
Hammer's
okay.
face.
I mean, that makes sense too. And this is our dad. He looks pretty cool, don't you think? Look at that young face of his.
Chris and Lucario stared with morbid looks at a photo of Masahiro Sakurai walking down a red carpet, saluting an audience in front of a concert. One of Lucario's eyebrows twitched. What do you think? Crazy Hand asked. I think I got his looks. The teen grimaced at the thought of two disembodied hands knowing full well that the creator of the games was this man. He decided to go along with the flow.
I would really like to meet him one day.
Chris said, forcing a smile as he handed the photo back to the hand.
They don't even look alike.
He thought. The Aura Pokemon wanted to make things look serious once more.
Why are you here?
Lucario asked.
You're on the run, but what did you hope to accomplish by running into this world?
We're here because we want to find help in order to fight them back.
Master Hand said.
Do you want me to call the police, the Navy, or the Army?
Why is Navy in all caps?
Yeah.
You need to shout it.
I don't think that's an abbreviation.
You need to shout that word.
Yeah, do you want me to call the police, the Navy, or the Army?
Chris asked with the suggestions.
The suggestions.
The two of us are very busy people.
We are?
Lucario asked.
Yes.
Chris hissed. Master Hand groaned.
Hey, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about recruiting a special human.
He said. Chris, it sounds exactly what you were what he was talking about. Chris didn't like where this was going.
A human I could convince to take upon the task of reuniting the team for a final confrontation against Taboo while ensuring that their words are safe from danger. Worlds.
He floated over to Lucario.
But screw that cliched fanfic idea. I found myself a better recruit in this guy.
Lucario asked, mildly shocked.
Yes.
The hand said.
I can sense it from you. You're one big Lucario.
I don't think you need to sense that.
No.
Like, if you can see.
Well,
yes,
I mean, he is a
that.
hand. He is a hand.
He is a hand that can see.
He rejoiced.
I saw how you lifted my brother with a bare hand alone. That just means you're very, very
paw.
special. With you on my side, gathering the group will be an easy task. Here I was thinking I was going to recruit some headstrong boy who doesn't... This is good. Okay, this is really good. I like this. Here I was thinking I was going to recruit some headstrong boy who doesn't do well at school but is an expert at video games. That's a sad waste of time, let me tell you.
Wow.
Oh, that's amazing.
Lucario exchanged glances with Chris. The teen looked worried.
Worried? I would be pissed. I would be really annoyed at that. That was just a total jab at me. Even though my character is a jerk. You mean to say that you want to take Lucario with you?
Chris asked.
But...
I can't.
Lucario said, surprising the teen.
I can't just leave Chris behind knowing that he's going to be alone.
Lucario?
Chris muttered. Master Hand groaned.
Oh no, I knew this was going to be too easy to be true.
He said.
Let me guess. You two are inseparable and would rather not leave the other behind.
Master Hand is my favorite character.
Yeah.
The best.
Just fourth wall
Good
breaking.
casting.
I get the
Good
feeling that
casting.
Master Hand was like the author personified in this story.
As opposed to the self-insert.
Yeah. I think it's a little better than a self-insert directly.
It is a little... We'll
It's
talk
more
at
of a
the end.
self-aware, really. Yes.
Chris responded weakly. But once he looked at Lucario's small style, there was a sudden change of heart.
And that's why you're not just taking Lucario for yourself.
He stood up.
I'm coming too.
The three gasped at the teen's decision.
What?
Master Hand said.
That's not what I had in mind. Just a moment ago, you looked like you didn't want to take part in this.
He said.
What made you change your mind? You don't look like a fighter, unlike your superbly strong Lucario.
Chris looked down, debating himself if it was a good idea to speak out his thoughts like that so recklessly. After hearing Master Hand's story, he thought there was a small chance for him to help in some way. It was obvious that a great threat was trying to break into his world to conquer it. He just didn't want to let it all go so easily.
I know.
Chris muttered, looking at Lucario's worried expression.
It's just
that I'm thinking about your welfare.
Master Hand said.
Chris, I don't want you to get involved in this. It's too dangerous for the likes of you. A small human child.
Oh, here we go. Just because Lucario is too damn strong doesn't mean everything will go the way you want.
Chris yelled, shocking the three with his sudden outburst. He looked worried once again.
And I can't just shrug this off and let Lucario go. I want to see what I can do.
You sure you're not the typical headstrong teen with a dream?
Darn right I am.
God. No. Yeah.
I'm not into fighting.
Chris admitted.
I'm a smart teen who works hard in high school.
That doesn't fit my criteria too much.
The hand said.
Oh my gosh. Oh well. Expect the unexpected, they say. But still.
He pointed a finger at the teen, startling him.
Ugh.
You know full well what you're getting into, right? You're entering a battlefield where anything can happen. You might get killed off.
Not if I'm around.
Lucario said. He made a fist that got engulfed in aura.
I'm Chris's Pokemon. He is my Pokemon trainer. I wouldn't want to think that he's going to be left behind doing nothing while I go out. Just the thought of leaving him alone doesn't bode me well.
He looked at his trainer with a small smile.
I'm the strongest Lucario the world has ever seen. Using my power, I'll see that Chris pulls through without suffering.
The teen smiled a bit at his Pokemon speech.
Is this getting uncomfortable for you again?
It's not as bad as it was before.
Yeah, no. We're not stroking each other.
Anyway, Anne, it's your line.
Oh, now I see how things are around here.
Man said.
There it is. It's the typical Pokemon bond between a Pokemon and his human. Yeah, I've seen that plenty of times before.
He grunted.
Alright. Okay, Chris, this is the last thing I'm going to ask of you. Do you truly want to join the Smashers along with your Lucario to fight against the Subspace Army, knowing that you'll be facing danger a lot more than you've done in your life?
Join the Smashers.
Chris trailed off.
That means you're working under me.
Master Hand pointed out.
With my leadership, I shall guide you through. ...
Chris stared long at Lucario.
I am the world's strongest Lucario.
He said, smiling wide.
Why should I get worried about getting hurt out there?
Chris.
Lucario trailed off as he pulled his trainer under his left arm, nudging his muzzle against his head.
Elizabeth's gonna die at the end of this chapter.
The teen chuckled heartily and embraced him.
Aw. Yay. Okay, that's kind of a moving scene.
Master Hand said.
But there are things to be done around here. Are we okay that the two of you will work for me?
Yes.
Chris said, nodding, Lucario releasing his grip from him.
I'll do whatever I can to support the team. With Lucario, of course.
Master Hand turned away.
Well, that's just going to make me take some crucial decisions with you,
he said. Chris and Lucario looked at him.
I'll tell you once we're ready to send you off in your first mission of the day.
Chris was concerned.
Do we have to take a few items with us?
He asked.
No, it'll be okay.
He said as he began floating away to Chris's room. Crazy Hand hopped off the couch and followed him. The duo looked at each other with flat looks before following the hands. Chris's room.
Fine.
Chris and Lucario stood in front of Master Hand and Crazy Hand.
Chris and Lucario.
Master Hand began.
We have to stop the Subspace Army from conquering the worlds of my Smashers.
He raised a finger.
Our first order of business is to keep their world safe by disabling the subspace bombs. It is also our top priority to gather them all once again when they're done with the plots of their games.
Wait.
Chris trailed off.
So you do know that you're part of video games?
He asked. Lucario looked away with a bit of disdain.
Lucario also realized that some time ago.
Oh, it's nothing, really.
The Hand said.
It only matters that we live. To me, it's far more important that I have a conscious mind of my own to be aware of.
It was hard to tell, but he looked serious.
He doesn't have a face. Of course it's hard. For that matter, though, I forbid you the idea of ever telling anybody that you come across about the fact that the worlds are part of video games.
It's going to be a pretty big thing to them, I suppose.
Lucario, suppose.
Well,
Suppose by supposing.
yes, right.
The hand said.
The team doesn't even know about that. They'll react negatively to the whole idea if they were to find out. You better keep the secret covered and just tell them that you come from other normal worlds. I don't care what you do as long as you don't disrupt their stories.
Disrupt their stories.
Chris repeated.
It's unknown to me where you're going to end up.
The hand said.
I will take you to the closest location where the plot is unraveling. That means you'll be dropped off anywhere. You are expected to help the protagonists of any world with their issues while trying to find the army somewhere along the road. It's clear that the army wants to chase them down, so if you stick with them, you're bound to protect them. Do not stray away from their stories, though. It's not recommended that you make some alterations for better results.
How will we know when the mission is completed?
Chris asked, concerned.
I will contact you as soon as I can.
Master Hand said.
I have powers beyond your imagination. I can see very well how you're doing by yourselves. For the time being, Crazy Hand and I will take residence in this house, avoiding people from seeing us from the windows, of course. This is our house now. We live here.
Yeah, just nonchalantly, hey, we're gonna stay here.
Lucario grimaced.
You better not cause any stupidity in here.
What?
I don't want to think what would happen if you get out.
We won't do that.
Master Hand said as his brother shook himself.
This is a safe place for us to hide from the army.
But how can we go to other worlds?
Lucario asked. Master Hand saw a Wiimote on the bed and pointed at it. He fired a yellow light to the control and it went in front of Chris and Lucario by floating in midair. The two stared at the control.
And more of my belongings get corrupted.
Chris sighed.
This is not corrupted.
Master Hand yelled before coughing a little.
Use this. The control is the key to go to the other worlds.
What?
Chris said.
You did something to my control?
No, that's why it turned yellow.
Controller.
They're totally ripping off sliders here.
Your control has been modified to open portals.
The hand pointed out.
Point forward and press the A button.
The team could hardly believe that this was happening, but he did as he was told. Shyly pointing the control forward, Chris's doubtful thumb pressed the A button. Suddenly, a trail of light shot out and seemingly crashed against empty air. A small shining dot shone before the two, and then it started to grow into a big circle. When the big circle was 7 feet big exactly, they saw a swirl of bright colors inside the majestic abnormality.
Ah!
Chris yelped, backing off from the vortex. It was a wonder to see that nothing was getting sucked into it.
Yeah, that's the initial impression.
Master Hand said.
What you see before you is a portal that will take you to Ness's world. I've sensed that the army's first target is Ness. I want you to rendezvous with him at the point where he's at and convince him to let you join his team.
But what if he doesn't let us join him?
Lucario asked.
Bug him a little more.
Master Hand said.
Try to do your best to convince him. He's toasted if he gets targeted out of nowhere while walking through a city. You two are my only hope to see them safe.
He saw that Chris looked unsure.
Having second doubts now, Chris?
Master Hand really doesn't...
Second doubts. I think you mean second thoughts.
Yeah.
Master Hand really doesn't want Chris to go on this adventure.
Yeah,
He's
no.
like, are you sure?
Passive aggressive.
I don't think you can do this. Are you
Like,
sure?
hey, buddy, you can't do this. Don't be stupid. Huh?
Chris said before looking away.
Well?
Look, because I don't want to see you chucking rocks and sticks at the enemies while Lucario does all the fighting.
The hand began as he raised a glowing finger.
Let me give you your tools for battle.
My tools for
Chris couldn't say any more once the hand shot him with a bright light.
Dead.
As Lucario watched in shock as his trainer spotted blood, Chris felt a funny sensation. However, it was still an odd feeling he never felt before, and it was by no means a negative one disguised as a positive one. What?
Well, that's oddly
He
specific.
looked at his hands glowed. He looked at his hands glowed briefly, and before he could see more, the light faded away.
What did you just do to him?
Lucario questioned.
I gave him the job system.
Master Hand said.
The job system?
Chris wondered, looking back up at him.
I got this from a world I was spying on.
I like the author's just admitting that he's stealing this
okay.
from somewhere else.
Oh, okay. I wasn't quite sure what they meant by jobs. Now I figured it out. Oh, that's
The
kind
hand pointed at... I feel like
Pointed.
this might be... because this has happened a lot of times, Master Hand has spoken, and I think it might be intentional. And if it is, I appreciate it.
Basically, I gave you the potential to gain a wide assortment of powers that will unlock by themselves as time goes by while you fight battles. In short, let's just say you're going to be a carbon copy of the Smashers. You're basically going to get jobs that will resemble them in powers and appearance. For example, someday you'll get a job that will give you a copy of Ike's clothes along with his sword, Ragno. There won't be any radical changes done to your body, though.
So I'm Kirby now. Like,
Yeah,
actually, though.
Yeah, pretty much.
Chris thought hard about the job system, but he was still unsure if this was a good idea. Obviously, the Hand had spied on the Final Fantasy series when thinking about the system itself.
Wait a minute.
Chris said, realizing something.
So, how do I change jobs?
Oh, it's simple.
The Hand said.
You just have to imagine the job you want to change to you in your mind. But the problem is that you don't have a single job at the moment.
What?
Chris said in shock as Lucario looked similarly with the same expression. Hence looking similarly.
Yes. You're sending me into a foreign world without a single job?
I'm testing you.
The Hand said.
This is a test for you to prove yourself, Chris.
Are you insane?
Chris asked. No, that's the other Hand.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, no, it's the other one. No.
The boss bluntly said.
Look, I do things around here pretty seriously. The people that work under me are expected to work hard. You're a special case, however.
Master Hand just throwing shade everywhere.
I still really don't think you can do it. I really think you're gonna fail.
He said.
I know it sounds really bad that I'm giving you almost nothing to fight battles, but I wish to see how you develop your fighting skills as you progress through this long adventure. I can tell that you're not the adventurous. I love Master Hand. This is like the best.
The best character.
I can tell that you're not the adventurous type. So I wish to see how the likes of you mature.
The likes of you.
Oh, I love this.
Chris stared in pure disbelief at the Hand for a few seconds until he sighed, scratching his right arm.
I suppose that you're right on that.
He muttered as Lucario patted his trainer's back.
I already said I was going anyway.
Don't be afraid.
Lucario said.
You still have me to defend you. To
Lucario.
defend yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Lucario.
I'll do everything in my power to help you out.
The Aura Pokemon said with a small smile.
Nothing would make me very proud than seeing my trainer fight by my side.
Dot.
Chris's eyes looked away. He blushed a bit.
Duh.
Just do it. Just do it. Rip it off like a Band-Aid.
I can really count on you after all.
Lucario growled and rubbed his cheeks together with Chris, making his trainer laugh for a bit. Next line, please.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Next line, please.
Oh, dear Christ. I'm sorry, I'm dying. I'm sorry.
I'm just expecting Master Hand to just go, okay, you two kooky lovebirds.
I'm gonna say it, no, I'm not. Okay.
Master Hand said, startling the two.
It's time for you to start the big mission to gather the force. Now go on into the portal and prepare yourselves for multiple worlds full of possibilities and unique characters waiting to meet you.
Meeting other characters.
Chris muttered, a sincere smile forming on his lips. He stared at the portal in front of them. Curiously, the teen and his Pokemon stuck a finger into it. Stuck a finger each into it.
No, that's so technically weird. That is grammatically correct, actually.
It sounds so weird, though.
It's a strange wording, but that is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stuck a finger each into it. I don't feel so good about just entering through this thing.
The two never expected the big right hand to push them into the portal without previous warning. The portal then vanished once they were gone.
And off we go.
Master Hand said. He chuckled and looked at his brother.
I should have said that before I pushed them in. Oh well. I have faith that they'll do just fine.
And what if they don't do well and end up getting killed? Crazy Hand asked.
Pish posh, brother.
Master Hand said.
Things will work out just fine. For the moment, though.
He looked around.
We need to give them a big surprise once they're done with this mission.
Crazy Hand gasped. You mean...
Yep, we're going home to do some special arrangements.
Master Hand said.
I forgot that Smash Mansion is all alone without any guests. I can't wait to see the look on their faces when they come back and see our base of operations. This house is not going to be enough.
The Hams kept talking to each other while keeping track of the two new recruits' progress into the first world. To be continued.
To be continued.
Next chapter, Bound to a New Earth. Do you want to save your data? Yes. Creating new file data. Winters, Chris, Lucario. And so, the story begins with a good start. How good the start is to you is up to your... how good the start is to you is up to your review, though. A few more things shall be addressed in the next chapters, as more characterization will come up from time to time. Only from time to time there will be characterization.
It will come up 3 times every time.
You'll see conversations and battles in the incoming chapters, so please, I ask you to enjoy the read. I encourage all Brawl fanatics to review.
Can we please read more of this?
At some other point, we don't even have to do it for a podcast.
End.
Yeah, the end.
That was one chapter. That was one chapter of this fanfiction.
Oh my gosh.
Read more of this.
I just want to hear Master Hand monologue.
Me too.
I just imagine Master Hand, for some reason, just some of the stuff, like you say, pish posh, I just imagine he has, a British accent or something.
I can't do accents.
That's fine. Just headcanon, I mean.
It was, this was, there were definitely some parts, very repetitive exposition. Lucario and Chris relationship, just no, please. And some grammar stuff, but I liked how it was very sincere. It reminded me a lot of the Mario and Sonic ones where it was kind of goofy, but, it owned it. There were some actually legitimately, the drama is kind of but the comedy can be pretty good.
Yeah.
The comedy was better than the drama.
Yeah, definitely.
But he could have cut out 90% of that exposition, and it still would have made sense.
Yeah.
Did you catch that he was a teenager? I'm not sure he made it clear enough.
Did you catch they met 6 months ago?
Yeah, did you catch that Lucario?
Or otherwise known as
Lucario is different from other Lucario in that he is tall and likes being petted.
And that the Lucario's name is Lucario.
Yes, and that he's very strong.
So strong he can pick up a couch with one hand.
No, the couch was on the wall.
With his right hand. He can pick up the couch with specifically his right hand.
Which he can also transform because it goes back and forth between being a hand and a paw when it's referred to.
Alright, we should wrap things up before we go off on a tangent forever. So, thank you for listening to this edition of Hacks and Slash. If you liked what you heard, please be sure to let us know either in the comments of the article on our actual internet website, GameCola.net, or on the GameCola YouTube channel, gc.net, the letter G, the letter C, the word net. If you'd like us to do more iterations of this series at some point, please let us know. Or if you have suggestions for other fan fictions, you send us emails at podcast@gamecola.net or just put it in the comments somewhere. I'm sure it'll get to one of us. If you'd like to check out some other GameCola stuff, be sure to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Just search GameCola, right, Anna?
Yep, just look for us. I'm in charge.
And you can also check us out for live streams on Twitch. And if you would like to be notified of any podcast that we put out, whether it be the monthly GameCola podcast or the now monthly Hacks and Slash podcast, you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. So there's that. And I think that covers about everything. Without further ado, thank you for listening to this edition of Hacks and Slash. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you next month. Goodbye.
Bye.
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 And Diana, just make it work. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you,
Everyone
Diana.
say thank you to Diana.
Thank you.
For editing this monstrosity.
Yeah, this is gonna be crazy.
You're welcome.